So either you or Sarah can do that.
I know Sarah's on the line. Sarah, can you start doing that for us? And Kent, we need you to speak up just a little bit if you could as well.
Yeah, can you hear me all right?
Yes.
That's perfect. And then also just clip Sarah too, in case you didn't hear you, Julie, okay? So Kent, so you're basically calling, we're going to open up the call in just a minute, gang, but I just want to capture what Kent said. For those of you that are just calling in, we have on the call Kent, who is not only works with RedX, but he is an agent who's actively prospecting 3 hours a day using the RedX system. And so, Kent, what you said, you first focus on expireds, withdrawn, newly withdrawn, you taken off the market, and then you go to FSBOs, then you go to back to the expireds. Is that right?
Yeah, I do. So I get the expired, canceled, withdrawn first thing in the morning, all the brand new ones. Then I make my way over to the brand new for sell-by owners. And then I go back and call expired, canceled, and withdrawals again. Even if you're a little hesitant, you already spoke with them this morning. My outlook on it is somebody might have said something to them that wasn't me that triggered a different response in that person, and they don't remember who you are. So I just call them right back about 30 minutes later after the first sell-by owner calls and hit them again. And it would surprise you how many people that may have yelled at me before are now more receptive to talking to me and will mark an appointment with me.
All right, for those of you who don't know, Kent is from Utah, but Kent, I've got to say that's very New Yorkish of you. I mean, that takes a real set of chutzpah to call an expired back 30 minutes later, figuring that they don't remember you, which I totally could see that they don't remember you, and they'll be a different type of person. That's pretty awesome. Let me ask you a question. Do you know what your numbers are, like how many people you speak to, how many appointments you get?
Yeah, so I speak to minimum 30 people a day.
Okay.
So I prospect 3 to 4 hours.
Okay.
So I make 30 contacts a day. If I'm calling expired and FSBOs, I'm at 8 conversations per appointment that I set.
So,
and if I'm doing geo leads, I'm at 20 conversations per every appointment that I set.
all right, let me just get that again, and I'm sorry because I was regulating the volume because I want to make sure this is being picked up on the recording. So give me that again. Expireds, how many conversations do you have to get that one appointment?
So expireds for sell-by owners, I average 8 conversations per appointment.
Got it. So expireds or FSBOs, you'll make a lot of calls, but if you talk to 8 people, you're good for one listing appointment with FSBOs and expireds. Okay. And
Correct.
And then the second category you said was the geo leads?
The geo leads. Geo leads, I have on average 20 conversations per one appointment set.
Okay, I'm interested to hear that dialogue. So for those people, I think that was you, Julia, feedback. For those of you that are not getting what he's saying, Kent's saying about geo leads is one of the options that you have in the RedX system where you can type in an address and give it a radius and criteria. So let's say a new listing come up in the market, you put that address in and say, give me all the houses in this radius around it, and you can download all of those homeowners' addresses, names, and phone numbers, and then call those people. So that's really what I refer to as cold calling. You're just calling a neighborhood. So Ken said if he makes 20 phone calls, he'll get one listing appointment. Ken, what is your dialogue for calling those people?
Yeah, so my dialogue, it depends on what kind of call I'm making. My favorite geo lead call, and this is a little sneaky of me, I'll call for rent by owners. And for rent by owners, you can hit a couple of different ways, and I'll get back to geo leads. I hit them to see if they're looking to sell. If they have no interest in selling, I hit them with, well, you're probably looking to build your portfolio. Would you like me to find you another house in this area. 9 times out of 10, they'll say yes. And then I call that neighborhood. So my dialogue is, hey, Darryl, this is Kent Brown with Summit Realty.
Yes.
I have a buyer that's interested in purchasing a home in your area, and I was wondering, for the right price, would you consider selling?
So that's basically the cold call, that you are calling with an investor who's looking to buy another property, and then you just hit the area.
Yep. And then they'll typically say, well, for the right price, should I respond, what would that right price look like for you? They'll give me a price. I'll say, let me run comparables on your home. When would be a good time to go over those with you? I have today at 4 or tomorrow at 5.
That's awesome. I love it. I just got chills. That's really good stuff, Ken. You know, we're going to have to pick Ken's brain some more, but I want to keep my promise and make sure that individual agents get the coaching that they need. So let's jump to the call, and then Ken, we'll see how that goes. But we're going to leave some time for you and I to talk some more about what you're doing and the dialogue you're using. So everybody, welcoming you to the call. For those of you that don't fully understand what the purpose of this call is, on January 30th, we did the inventory intensive on Long Island, New York. And as a bonus, I've never done it before. I said, hey, listen, after a couple of weeks of you guys making phone calls, I'll be on a call to answer any questions that you might have, to give you some coaching specifically and only specifically with prospecting on the telephone using RedX and calling FSBOs and expired. So hopefully, I see we have a lot of people on the call right now, because I have my software tells me who's on the call. So hopefully you have a lot of questions. Here's how you can ask your question. You'll hit *6 on your keypad. That will take you off mute. Do it one time. It takes about 5 seconds. There's a delayed reaction. So just do it once, hit *6, and then just shout out your name, and we'll start with the questions. If you're on Facebook Live, you can type in your question, and Julie is looking at the listing workshop Facebook group. All right, who has their first question? Who wants to ask?
Hi, it's Jeff Shapiro.
I'm sorry, is it Jeff?
Yes.
Go ahead.
That's right. Hi,
Good.
Hi, Darryl. That was a great presentation on January 30th. Thank you for that.
All right, Jeff. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. What's going on, man?
Just a real quick question. The lender that was there, he said he was going to call me. I might have missed the call, and I just wanted to find out who that was and what his number was.
Sure. So let me get that for you. And by the way, just everybody else, if you have any questions about your Power Program membership or anything after the program, do me a favor, just text it to Sarah. I'll tell you how to do that in a second, because I want to focus on prospecting. But listen, Jeff, no problem. Let me give you, his name is Andrew Russell, and his phone number is 631-433-3505. 631-433-3505. Andrew Russell. That was the mortgage guy. Give him a call, okay?
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome, buddy. I'll put you on mute so you don't have to worry about it. Anybody has any other questions about either your membership, the Power Program, just go to this website, thepowerprogram.com. And when you get to thepowerprogram.com, you're going to see one of those little chat buttons in the bottom right-hand corner of your computer screen. And somebody's actually behind that chat button. It's Sarah. And a lot of you saw Sarah at the class on January 30th. So she's sitting there. She's actually on the call with us now. She can hear what I'm saying. So ask her any question. But let's focus on prospecting. Who has a question about calling FSBOs, expireds, anything to do with the telephone? And let's get on that.
Facebook group.
Yeah, all right, good, Julie. I think I got another caller, though. So is there somebody else on the phone that has a question?
Yeah. Hi, Darryl. This is Andre. How are you?
Good, Andre. How are you doing, buddy?
Good, good. This is more of a comment rather than a question.
Okay.
I just wanted to say thank you for sending those videos. You sent one last week about telling us to not put off using the Red X, and then you sent another one, I think, this morning about not putting off using the Red X. And I had been doing just that. I had been saying I'm going to do it, you know, getting ready to get ready. And then I saw your video this morning, and I just decided to go ahead and do it for the first time. And I only made one phone call because it was right around 11:30 or so when I did it. And I didn't want to, you know, run into a second call and miss the presentation today. But that very first phone call I made, I spoke to a FSBO, and I actually set an appointment for Thursday at 1 p.m. So thank you so much for sending those videos, pushing me to make me actually do it, because I kept putting it off and putting it off. So I just wanted to say thank you very much.
Well, that brought a little bit of a tear to my eye. It really did, and I know it made Julie smile. So I thank you so much for sharing that, because yeah, all these videos and the texting, all the stuff we're doing. I know we never told you guys we were going to do this. We're doing it because we really care about you. Really want you to succeed, and we know if you just pick up the phone and if you just use Red X, everybody, you know, I mean, that's pretty powerful what you just shared. You know, you called one, you got one appointment. So, you know, you got to be in it to win it. If you just dial for dollars, if you just use Red X and make your phone calls, gang, you are going to have an incredible, you're going to have a financial breakthrough this year. So if anybody doesn't want more money this year, then don't. But if you want more money, if you would like some more money this year, let's get on the damn phones. All right. Let's make these calls. All right. But brother, thank you so much. That made us smile. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, buddy. I'll put you on mute so you don't have to worry about it. And by the way, after this call, make one more. You know, everybody, you should think. I mean, you know, Kent's making 3 hours a day in calls. That's a tremendous amount. But if everybody just had 2 conversations a day, imagine what that would do to your business. Julie, you have a question from Facebook. What do you got?
Yes, Ash asks, what would you say to a FSBO who says, I don't want to work with a broker at all?
Okay, so Ken, I want to throw it to you because these guys can hear me all the time, and I only have you right for this 1 hour. So I'm going to probably throw all the questions to you. What would you say if a seller says, I don't want to work with any agent whatsoever?
Yeah, for me, I would say, hey, you don't want to work with an agent. Tell me, is that because you're looking to save on the commission?
Yes, it is.
It is. Okay, fantastic. And I'm honestly not saying that you can sell it, you can't sell it on your own. What I'm saying is I can sell it for more. And if that were true, wouldn't it be worth 10 minutes of your time? I have time this afternoon at 5 or tomorrow at 4.
Very good, Kent. Very good. Now, see, I can tell, gang, from Kent, his approach is going to be different than my approach, which is I don't want you to allude to getting a listing. By the way, Kent, I am not saying anything. There's different schools of thought, different approaches. That's why I'm so glad you and I are both on the call here. My approach is I want to stay away from talking about listing, commission. I don't want them to think I'm coming over to take a listing. I also don't want them to think I'm coming over to preview it, to show it to a fake buyer that I don't have. What I want to do is I just want to come see your house and see how I can help you, meaning I don't know what that looks like. But what I do know, and this is what be my answer to that, is that what I do know, Mr. and Mrs. Hanahana, is you're putting an ad out there into the world, having complete strangers come to your house, and you don't know if they can even afford your house if it were free. That would be like boarding on an airplane without any TSA whatsoever. You have no idea who you're letting in, but you're willing to take that risk. Whereas with me, I am a licensed agent in the state of New York. I'm the safest appointment you can give, not to mention the fact I could have a bunch of people who might be interested in paying you more than what you're asking. So you've got nothing to lose and everything to gain. Just look at me as one of those other people that you're letting into your house, but I'm the safest appointment you can give. Can I come over at 6 or would 7 be better? So different approaches, but 2 different answers that you just got when you get that thing. I don't want to work with any agent whatsoever. Okay, good, great. Yes, Ken. Yeah, who is that? Marty. It's Marty Sorrentino.
How are you, buddy?
Good, Marty.
Just listening in. Great stuff. Also, what you may want to say to a homeowner, FSBO, is that, you know, the governor of New York, whatever his name is, Cuomo, he trusts me. He gave me a license that says I can sell any piece of real estate in the state of New York. Now, if the governor of New York can trust me, can't you at least trust me to come over for 10 minutes?
That's really good. Unless, of course, you're talking to a Republican, then they're going to hang up on you.
We've got a few calls coming in on Facebook, so let me know when you're ready.
All right, that's very good. Yeah, go ahead. Let me get that question, Julie, from on Facebook. What we want to do is try and get through as many questions as possible right now in our hour. So go ahead. What do you got, Julie?
How would you handle a FSBO that tells you are the 10th agent that's called?
Kent, I'm going to throw it to you once again.
Yeah, I always like to throw humor in there. I always say I'm the 10th agent that's called you.
Yes.
Did you know that there's 15,000 licensed agents in Utah, and I'm one of only 10 doing his job?
Wow.
I just have a question.
That's good. That's good. You see, I would have even, my joke would have been like, yeah, there's 15,000 and I'm just number 10. If you let me come over, then the other 14,990 won't call you. You better let me over before those other 14,000 hear about this. Yeah, that's good. That's really good, Ken. So I'm one of 10 agents who are actually doing their job. I love it. Another answer to that question, I'm like the 10th agent that's called, say, well, that's interesting. Can I ask you, Mr. and Miss Anna, what did they want? And the homeowner will probably say, well, they want, like you list my house. Oh, no, that's not why I'm calling. See, the reason why I'm calling is that I noticed your ad in the paper caught my eye, and I'm working with people all the time trying to help them find them a house and also help people sell houses. So this is what I do 24/7. So I got to tell you, you did a great job with this ad because of all the ads I could have called, I picked yours, which, by the way, let me ask you this. I see that it says 4 bedrooms and 2 beds. Are the bedrooms all up or is it 2 up and 2 down? And then I would go right back to my dialogue, which is asking questions about the house. So I would answer it and then quickly get back on track to my dialogue that you all have in your workbook. Great question. Great answer, Kent. What else do we have? Who's else got a question for us? Now, if you're on the telephone, you'll hit *6 on your keypad. It'll take 5 seconds for you. And I hear,
Hello.
Yes, go ahead. Hello.
Hi, this is Bob Greenwood from Buffalo. How are you?
Good, Bob. How you doing from Buffalo? Oh, Bob, listen, we got the card from you and your wife. I read it to the whole office. I'm sorry, Julie, I didn't read it to you, but I read it to everybody else. So thank you. It made my team smile. Thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome. Great program. My question has to do with I made some calls to expireds, about a dozen of them, and left a dozen voicemail messages. So when and how did you follow up on voicemail messages if they don't return your call?
Okay, so Kent, let's go to you on that. So what will we do when you're leaving? First of all, Kent, what's the voicemail message that you leave?
I rarely leave voicemail messages, to be entirely honest with you.
Okay.
I go the approach of texting them. So if they don't answer, I'll shoot them out a text. And I only do that if I get the voicemail and the voicemail matches the name of the lead that I have popped out.
Okay, so that's really good. Let's delve a little deeper in that. So when you get a voicemail and you're assuming that it's a cell phone, you'll send a text from your phone. What's the text say?
Yeah, just say, hey, this is Kent Brown with Summit Realty. I have some really important information I need to talk to you about on your home. Give me a call back when you have a second.
Now that's interesting, Kent, because that's very similar, just an abbreviated version of the voicemail dialogue that we give to the power agents. And those were you in the intensive. You got dialogue, that's your voicemail. And what Kent pulled out of that was, I have some important information. You know, the purpose of that is to get them to want to call you you know, you're teasing them with some information. So that's really great, Ken. But to answer your question, Bob, if you've left these 10 voicemails, I'm going to say two things. Number one, Bob, is that the power agents tell us that the dialogue that I gave you to leave on voicemail, people will call you back. So if they're not calling you back, Bob, I'm going to suggest, I want you to look at, are you using the dialogue exactly the way I wrote it? That's, you know, I'm not a fan of scripts, but in this scenario, I would like you not to deviate from that script. So that's number one. Number two, to answer your specific question, like Ken said, he'll call people in the morning and then like an hour later or 30 minutes later, he's calling them a second time. So I would do the same thing here. If you haven't heard from them in a few days and you're looking for numbers to call, just call them again. And make believe it's the first time you're calling them, okay?
Okay.
Did that help you, buddy?
Yes, it does. I was using the script that which I edited from RedX from your script, and that's what I was using. And I felt that I understand where Ken was going, but by the same token, it seems that leaving a voicemail message is more personal, and that the text message is kind of less personal. So that's why I thought that would be a better.
Well, I'll say.
I understand where Ken's coming from.
I'll say two things about that, and then I'll move on to the next question. There's no right answer to anything. It's a personal style. So, you know, for Ken, he doesn't like to leave the voicemails, so go to the text. Me, I like to leave the voicemails because my philosophy is if you don't leave a voicemail, nothing will happen. If you do leave a voicemail, something may happen. So why not leave the voicemail? So it increases your odds of having something happen in your life. That's number one. Number two is RedX will admit to this, that their scripts and dialogue is not as good as ours. So because Curtis, they wanted me to give them our dialogue, and I said I can't. It's got to stay exclusive to our students. So do me a favor, Bob. Go back to the dialogue I gave you in the workbook. Don't edit it. Try that for 10 voice messages, and then see what happens as an experiment.
Very good. Okay.
All right, buddy. Tell your wife I said hi. We all said hi. I put you on mute so you don't have to worry about it. I saw a 347 area code. That was, who's that? That's been waiting. Did they go away? Okay. Let's see. I have a Flo Carlson. Is that correct?
Yes, this is Sergio. I have a question. First, thank you for that training on January 30.
You're welcome, hon.
How about when you contact, let's say, a Facebook or Aspire, and they tell you, no, I don't want have bad experience with your agency?
So they had a bad experience with your agency, and that's why they don't want you to come over. Well, do you get that? I mean, do you have a thought on that?
Yeah, if you get that, I always say, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, would you agree that it's an individual agent's actions that get a home sold and not the brokerage?
That's good. So
they reply, yeah.
Okay.
And then just go from there.
And just go from there. Okay, so you want to isolate that it's really the agent who gets the job done, and not so much the company. Don't look at the company, or if you had a bad experience before. I think what I would say, Flo, along that lines is, you know what? Like in any service industry, which is what realtors are, you've got your good, better, and best. You have good experiences and bad experiences. Like if you've ever gone to a deli, and you got bad service or bad food, that doesn't mean you're not going to go to any deli ever again. Or if you've ever had bad pizza delivery, you won't ever not give them a second chance. So, you know, I'm sorry that you had the bad experience with an agent, but I'm not that person, and I got to tell you, I think I can really help you because your ad it caught my eye, and I think there's something about your listing. Let me ask you this, and then I'll go back on track. So that's how I would handle that, Flo. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'm going to mute you so you don't have to worry about it. I will tell you, gang. Flo's question brings up another point, though, is that you're not going to get all of the listing appointments that you call. You know, Kent just said at the beginning, for those of you who aren't on the call, he said that, you know, he'll call and speak to, what was it, Kent? 8 FSBOs and expireds to get one appointment. Is that right?
Yeah, my average was at 25.
So you started, so listen to this, gang. So this guy, Kent, again, for people who are just calling in, he calls using RedX 3 hours a day. Is it how many days a week, Kent?
5 days a week.
Five
5 to 6.
5 to 6. All right.
Still in on Saturdays too.
Yeah, Kent's got to go for therapy because that's a lot of damn dialing. I don't. What the hell's wrong with you, Ken? I saw you have a family. What? You know, I see you got 2 kids. Do they know who you are? But anyway.
I have the dialer makes it. I don't even feel it.
Okay, now here's another thing. The dialer, for those of you who don't know, Kent's using, RedX has this thing called the dialer, which it will dial all the dials for you, the phone numbers for you. I don't want to, well, you know what, Kent, why don't we take 60 seconds? Tell them about the dialer. I don't want to teach that, but just 60 seconds, how does that work?
Yeah, it works like a 3-way call. It's built right into RedX's Vortex platform. So I plug in, I have my number plugged in, and I have a Google Voice number for my caller ID.
Okay.
And then it calls into my phone and starts calling out to all the prospects. It just goes one by one, but it's kicking out all the disconnected numbers, fax lines that I encounter, and I can leave my pre-recorded voice messages as well. So really, I am very ADD, so I will be writing something, listening to music, whatever it may be, and then as soon as someone says hello, I just go right into my dialogue.
So people can visualize this. The RedX software has another add-on software where it will put you on hold. While you're on hold, the software is dialing through your list of leads from RedX. And as soon as somebody answers, it connects you to the call. So you're sitting there just waiting for it to be connected. And of course, you're being productive at the same time. I think that's awesome. So, okay, but going back to what I was saying, so Kent's original, when he first started dialing, gang, he'll dial 25 conversations to get one listing appointment, for crying out loud. We just had a student over here. Who is it, Andrew, or I forget his name now. That was horrible. That he made one phone call before this call and got the appointment.
Okay.
Who was it?
Andre.
Bless Andre. So, but here's the point, is that you're not going to get every appointment that you go after. You're going to get certain objections that you're not going to be very smooth at answering, you know, but just make the next call. You just keep getting better and better after each one. All right, who has another question for us? Hit *6 if you didn't already. I see a 516 area code. Who is that?
Hi, Darryl. It's Albert Celeste.
Hi, Albert. How are you, buddy?
Great. Thank you. How are you?
Good. Albert was very helpful at the intensive. We love Albert. Thank you so much, Albert, for being a great power agent. So what's your question, buddy?
You know what? Like a lot of people, I get inside my own head, and I hate when I do that.
Yeah.
So when reading the voicemail, the dialogue, you have important information. I have someone important about that, and for some reason that gets me. So when they call back, I'm worried about they call back. What's the information? You know, I'm just want to know how to get around that or just get out of my head. What can I do?
Yeah. So Albert, this is what I'm going to do, because you got a really bad connection. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mute. I just muted
Wait,
you.
is this better? I'm sorry.
Okay. Yeah. You there? Whoops, Albert, I think I just muted you by mistake. Okay, so it's all right, because I'm going to answer your question. So Albert's question is, number one, when you leave that message, I have some important information, or you text that message, I have important information, could you contact me? His concern is, well, if they call you, what's the important information that you have? Number one, Albert, I don't know of any homeowner that actually has called an agent back with that voice message saying what's your important information. So they go right into the conversation. That's the first thing. The second thing, if they should challenge you and say, yeah, listen, Albert, I'm calling you because you said you had some important information. What is it? Then I would simply go, well, I've called a lot of people today, sir, could I just get your information? What's the address of your property? Okay, what was the asking price? And I'm sorry, what's your name? Okay, yes, I remember which house it is now. Yeah, the reason why I was calling was I noticed your ad and I was wondering how you work with agents to sell your property. No, we're trying to do it on our own. I see. Is that because you want to save the brokerage fee? Well, let me ask you this. So here's my point, Albert. You really don't answer the question. You just go back to the dialogue and get back on track. Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right, that's number one. But Albert, you have a second question that's more important. And that is, how do you get out of your head to make these calls? So,
Yes.
yeah, now this is for everybody. Listen, this is what you all have to hear. And Ken, just give me a minute to yell at everybody, okay?
Yeah.
So, gang, listen, if you try and wait to feel like prospecting, you're never going to prospect. If you are going to wait to have your feelings dictate your life's going to keep looking the way you feel about it. So if you want to have a breakthrough in how you feel about your life, stop focusing on how you feel and get in action in your life. So, Albert, don't feel like prospecting. Be afraid of prospecting. Be nauseous about prospecting. And, Albert, I want you to prospect anyway. Bring, I don't want to, I don't feel like it, this is uncomfortable, I'm not good enough, I don't feel good about who I am. Bring all that garbage to the phone call and make the call anyway. Now, here's what I promise you. After so many calls, or after so much time, you're going to start to get numb to your own negativity, and it will start to go away. I was just reading some science this morning about how we all become numb to things. Like if you own cats, like after a while, you don't smell cat stuff anymore because you're always smelling it constantly. There's a science behind that. When we keep getting bombarded with the same negative message, eventually our cells just get used to it and it doesn't have the same power over us anymore. Is this making sense what I'm saying, Albert?
Absolutely, Cal.
So this is the last thing I'm gonna say this, buddy, and I'm gonna quote Tony Robbins. Motion impacts emotion. Instead of feeling like I want to prospect and then you prospect, don't feel like prospect or prospect anyway, do it religiously, and then eventually those feelings of I don't want to will go away, okay?
Perfect.
All right, buddy.
Appreciate it.
All right, brother. We love you, man. Go, I'm going to put you on mute. Go get them, all right? Enough is enough. Some of you got to get sick and tired about being sick and tired. You know, that's, yeah, go ahead, Julie.
I've got a couple questions, but I also want to add on that. Take yourself out of your own head by being present with that person on the phone. You're about to service a family. How many families are you going to help this year? So make it about those families and the ability to help families this year.
Okay, so Julie, let me just highlight what you just said, Julie. So what Julie all said, you remember the intensive, I said how you overcome fear too is by focusing on the homeowner, focusing on the families, making a difference, you know, which is also true. But that should come up for you when you're on the phone. Some of you are not even getting on the phone because you're paralyzed by the stinking thinking about who you are and what you think you can do and blah, blah, blah. So, you know, get in action of just making the calls. And then when they say hello, as Julie said, focus on that homeowner and get connected and be present. Remember the being present exercise at the intensive. All right, Julie, what's your question?
What you say when the FISBO will only let you come over if you have a buyer.
Okay. Ken, what would you say to that? I'll only let you. So, Ken, I'm the homeowner. You're calling me. I'll say, Ken, the only way I'll let you over is if you have a buyer that you're going to show it to.
And I can appreciate that. So you are willing to work with an agent, Darryl?
Yeah, if you have a buyer, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Fantastic. Well, I would love to come and see the home. I work with a lot of buyers, calling on the phone every day. And then typically I would set an appointment. The one thing I look at is I don't usually go to those. I really only go to motivated people. That's not a motivated person, in my opinion. And I could be wrong, but I don't like to go over and preview. I like to go over and present.
Well, I think this question, Ken, is more like, I'll let you, you don't have to preview it. I'll let you come over if you bring the buyer with you.
Correct.
Yeah. And to that, I might say, are you familiar with how I bring buyers to your home?
Well, yeah, I would think.
Or-
No, go ahead.
Or I would say, how many agents have you made that promise to?
Well, you know, we just started advertising. You're like the second agent that called, so I, you know, you're the first.
Okay. So you're promising that to every agent that calls you?
Yes.
Okay. So you see, to be honest with you, Darryl, I don't have a buyer right now for your home. But I'd love to come over and show you how I can get multiple buyers into your home. Wouldn't you rather have your home advertised to all of the agents on the MLS, or just the 10 or 15 that are going to call you today?
Okay, that's good. That's good. I think, yeah.
It's Marty.
Yes, Marty.
Yeah, we get a spot in South Carolina where a homeowner will say, well, you know, bring over a buyer and I'll pay you a buyer's commission. I have no problem paying yada yada percent. And what we'll do is we'll turn it around and say, listen, not just yourself, but your home deserves proper representation. You know, let's remember that if OJ did not have proper representation many years ago, he would still be in jail. And your home deserves representation.
Boy, Marty, you're just bringing up some really wacky analogies today, brother. And
No, you know what it is? If you can make them laugh, right? If you can make a homeowner laugh or chuckle or think about, you know, you were always the one that taught me, you know, do an analysis or tell a story.
yeah,
You know, I remember I was showing a house in Wandsworth when OJ got acquitted. I mean, you know, was not guilty.
right.
And I remember that. And OJ deserves to have proper representation. He has phenomenal representation. And the homeowner deserves that with their house. The most expensive asset that you probably
I agree. I do, and I appreciate the analogy. I think the last thing I'm going to say on that is that you know, if somebody says bring me a buyer, if you have a buyer, you can bring them. I would probably say to them, all right, well, Mr. or Mrs. Hanahana, I think you may misunderstand why I'm calling. I'm calling because what I do for a living is I help people, you know, buy and sell real estate. Your ad caught my eye. I really just want to come over.
Surprising the boys with a trip.
I just want to come over and see your house and see what you have and see how I can help you. You know, if you ever said that to any other agent saying, if you have a buyer, you can bring them. Well, then the agent is actually representing the buyer. They're not representing you. And if you were going to get sued, and you all have heard me do this analogy before, you know, if somebody was going to sue you and they bring and you're not going to pay for the attorney of the person who's suing you. But that's what you're doing when you say to an agent, hey, bring me a buyer and then I'll sell it to your buyer if we agree on price. You're actually paying a licensed trained agent to represent the buyer, which is against you. So I think we're running ahead of ourselves here. I'm not calling because I have a buyer, bring a buyer over. I see you have a house. I want to see how I can help you. I'm licensed by the state of New York. I'm the safest appointment you get, blah, 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 and go on to that. All right, what's our next question? Who has a question for us? If you didn't, yes, hello. Yes, I can hear you, sweetie. Go ahead.
Hi, thank you. My name is Joyce. In talking to, so when you make these calls to FISBOs, it's going to be obviously that the FISBO wants to do it on their own. They don't really want the broker. They want to do it on their own. So when you call, are you calling? You're not calling really to say you're. Is it just to sort of preview the house, get your foot in the door, and say get in there, and then sort of build a rapport with them first before? I mean, isn't that sort of the foreplay first before you go to the, you know, the thing which obviously is to ultimately list them? But when you're what's the guys that you're really calling them? You're calling them to see their home, to get your foot in the door, and then to develop a rapport with them. Is that kind of the first step?
Great question. It's Joy, right?
Joyce.
Joyce, okay.
I'm a brand new agent. called one last week, so yeah, go ahead.
All right, so Joyce, great job that you called last week. Keep doing it. The more you do it, the better you're going to become. So that's number one. Number two is Kent and I have different approaches, right? So Kent, who does 3 hours a day, 5-6 days a week, his approach is he'll be fine talking about or alluding to, hey, I want to come over your house and discuss maybe you hiring me to list the house. That's one approach. My approach is I want to just come in, see your house, see how I can help you. Does that mean I ain't listing? I don't want to list. How much commission do you charge? Anything that sounds like, Joyce, a listing appointment, I run away from it in the conversation because I don't want them to think I'm coming over to list it. I'm coming over just to see what they have and see how I can help them, whatever that looks like. Now, when I come over, Joyce, I'm going to build rapport with them. I'm going to tour the house, and then I'm going to bring them back to the kitchen table after we've toured the house, and I'm going to start my listing appointment conversation. So I'm not just coming over, Joyce, to see it and then leave and come back at another time to do a CMA, No, I'm coming over to ultimately have that listing conversation, but I go a little bit smoother and slower. So does that answer your question?
Yeah, but how do you then sort of segue while you're there to sort of break into that listing conversation? I mean, I did it the other day. I called the FISBO.
Well, here's how. Let me answer it really quick because I want to try and get through as many questions as we can. So after you've you ring the doorbell and you go into the house and you go to the kitchen table and you put your stuff at the kitchen table, and after you've toured the house and you've done a lot of ooh, ah, I love this, I love that, and then you wind up back to the kitchen table, you sit down and you go, let me just ask you, Joyce, you said you were moving to Florida, is that correct? What's the time frame you want to get there by? Have you looked at any houses? Let me ask you this, if I can help you get to Florida with the money you need to make the move a success, is that something you'd be interested in? And you say yes. I said, well, let me share with you a little bit about myself because I think it's important that you understand who I am as a licensed agent in the state of New York. And I would go through that and I would say, and let me just tell you, as far as my company, the company didn't pick me, I picked my company, because as a licensed agent in the state of New York, I can work anywhere I want. As a matter of fact, here's some letters from other companies asking me to come work for them, but I chose Power Realty because I believe they're the best for my company, for my homeowners. And here's why, because this is the type of marketing that we do. Anyway, I am well into the listing conversation right now. Joyce, are you with me?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I'm going to put you on mute, and you keep making your calls, Joyce. Ken, I would like to, at this moment, real quick, can we role play your FISBO dialogue? Because I have a feeling it's different than mine, and I'd like people to hear another alternative approach. Is that okay? Kent, did you hang up? Oh,
I think you might have.
You know what?
You might have muted me.
I did. You're right, Ken. I muted you instead of Joyce. Okay. So, Joyce, if you're still there, mute yourself. All right. So
How do I do that? How do I do that?
Okay. Are you 516 area code, Joyce?
Yeah.
Okay. I found you. I just muted you. Don't worry about it. Okay. That was so funny. Okay. So, Kent, so can we role play? You call me as a FISBO?
Yeah.
Okay. I may give you a little challenge if that's okay, because I think it might help people to see how you dance around. Is that all right?
Yeah.
Okay. So my phone rings, ring, and then I say, hello.
Here, let me pull it. Give me 2 seconds. I'm just pulling up my dialogue.
Oh my God.
I have my scripts in front of me.
That is so funny. I would think after 3 hours a day, 5 days a week, you'd have it memorized, for crying out loud.
Darryl,
I have it.
get you after this too.
Julie, you have 2 questions after this role play?
Yes.
Okay, we'll do that.
Perfect. Ring.
Hello?
Hi, I'm looking for Darryl.
Yes, this is he.
Hello, Darryl. My name is Kent Brown with Summit Realty. I was hoping to ask you a few questions
Uh-huh.
so that we can help find a buyer for your home. Do you have a couple of minutes to go over them now?
Oh, okay. Well, we're not working with agents.
You're not working with agents? Okay. Not a problem. Again, we'd like to help find a buyer for your home. And first and foremost, I just want to make sure that if we were to bring you a buyer, you're willing to pay a fair commission for finding a buyer for your home.
Now, if we're going to list with somebody, we have a friend that we'll probably list with.
Okay. But again, would you be willing to pay a buyer's agent if they did bring you a qualified buyer?
In other words, if you had a buyer, would I pay a fee to buy my house?
Correct.
Well, I guess as long as I get what I want, I don't care what you get.
Okay, perfect. So you are. So as long as you get the price that you're asking for, you're willing to pay a buyer's agent.
Sure.
And now I see your home's listed for $400,000. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. And what would you consider a strong offer on your property, Darryl?
400,000.
400,000. You're not willing to budge at all.
Well, yes, well, it would be strong. That'd be pretty damn strong, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, that's a strong offer.
I'm sorry, gang. Just to go off this role play for a second, I want everybody to remember that I'm from New York. We have a lot of New Yorkers that came to this class on January 30th, and you're Utah. So, this is the type of person that you might get if you were calling a New Yorker. So, so going back to that, the 400,000 would be a strong offer. Go ahead.
Okay, 400,000. Perfect. And in as much detail as possible, would you please describe some of the best features your home has to offer?
Well, it's right there in the ad. It's 4 bedrooms, 2 baths. We put a new kitchen in and a finished basement, and it's a big property.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I did see that in the ad. Anything that you've done since the photos were taken?
Nope.
Okay. And are you going to be posting professional photos online, or are these the final shots?
I think they're pretty. I think they're pretty good. I took them. I took them myself.
Have a professional agent come in or a professional come in and take them?
No.
No. Okay. Good to know. And are the floors new, old?
Okay, so you know what? I'm going to stop because I want to get on to the next. I want to get to these other questions that we have, Kent, because I can see that you're spending a good amount of time on this call. And so what so what I like is that, Kent's really aggressive on assuming that, hey, I'm going to bring a buyer, but I need to get some information from you, or possibly I can bring a buyer. So he's going full force here. Now, the good thing about Kent's approach is that if he gets an appointment, it's probably going to be a more bona fide appointment. So it's a different approach. Obviously, I like my approach. Kent likes his approach. This is a wonderful thing. Let's go to these 2 questions, Julie, that you've got from Facebook.
Perfect. One is calling a FSBO flip property. So the FSBO dialogue with this, why are they selling questions, those kind of things don't really apply. Is there any special dialogue you can use when you're calling a flip?
So this is an investment property that somebody's, okay.
FSBO.
Yeah. So, I guess what I would do is I would be more like Kent. I'd be more aggressive because now investors are not homeowners. Investors, they sell based on the money. Like it's all about the numbers. It's not an emotional thing that I love my house. I know my house better than you do. I've sold houses before. No, this is like, listen, I bought the house for 200. I put 100 into it. It's 3. I want to squeeze every penny I can get out of it because I only have 5 of these I do a year. So there's not a lot of room for commission. So I think I would call speaking about, hi, this is Darryl Davis from Power Realty. The reason I was calling, I noticed you've got this property that you're obviously flipped. I've been tracking it. I saw that it was an auction.com. You bought it. I'm looking at these pictures. You did an incredible job. Let me ask you something. Are you working with agents at all and trying to get the property flipped? And they'll say, no, because I don't have enough equity in it, So let me ask you a question. I'm sure the number you're asking for, you put a little negotiating room in it. If I could get you that asking price, in other words, if I can net you what you're hoping to net based on your business plan, would that be okay? Well, yeah, if you can get me what I can get based on what I need. All right, well, can I meet you at the property? Let me ask something else. If I had some other properties that haven't hit MLS yet, that might be a potential flip, would you want to know about those too? All right, listen, because I'm working with investors, very excited about, I'm hearing there's a couple of things I think might be coming. I think it behoove us if you and I got together. Let me see what you got. I'll see what I have. Let me see if I can bring a couple other possibilities for you, and let's see if I can help you make some money. So that would be my approach with that one. What's the next question, Julie?
This one's a technical question for Kent. Does the storm dialer have a delay for the person receiving the call?
No, it's again, it works like a three-way call. So you're already connected to the other line. As soon as they answer, you're on the phone with them.
So it's not quite the way I said it, where you're on hold and it's dialing, and then as soon as it picks somebody, then it connects you. Like you're pretty much already connected right there.
Yeah, you're already connected right there. You are on. You're kind of on hold in the sense that you're not going to hear ringing on the other end. But who wants to hear ringing over and over and over again? So it's silent, and then as soon as someone answers, you hear the sound of everything.
Got it. Okay. Now the storm dialer is, how much is that a month, Kent?
The storm dialer is $99 a month.
Geez, but how many calls does that, how many dials does that, you know, the great thing about it is that you've got, because the RedX system, there's not a problem with the RedX system. Like people will say, well, some numbers are disconnected, their fax numbers are wrong. That's the numbers are the numbers. So like RedX is not making numbers up. So sometimes people put wrong numbers or bad numbers out there, and that's all we're getting. But it does waste a lot of time. So this $99 really just saves a tremendous amount of time of you dialing and wasting it, right?
Yeah, you'll get $15 to $20 manually. With the dialer, you're anywhere between 60 and 100,000 an hour.
So $15 an hour yourself, a minimum of 60 dials an hour with this storm dialer. Is that what you just said?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if no one's answering, you're gonna connect with a lot of people. But if you're, well, I guess if no one's answering, you'll get through 120.
Right.
But if someone answers and you're having conversations, obviously that number is going to be lower.
Well, if I just went with what you just said, I mean, if you're doing, well, let me just do it this way. If you're doing 3 hours a day times 5 days a week, that's 15 times 4 weeks. So you're dialing 60 hours a month. So if I take $99 divided by 60, so it's costing you $1.65 an hour to have the storm dial for you. I mean, that's a ridiculous amount of money. Like everybody should, you all should, I haven't talked about storm dial. You all should probably look at it now, because that makes a tremendous amount of sense. All right, who else has a question? Yeah, thank you for that. We got 7 minutes left. Who else has a question? I want to make sure we get as many questions in, because this is the one time for us to help you. Who else has a question? Hit *6 on your keypad. That will take you off mute.
Hi, I have a question.
Yes.
So, my name is Jennifer, and I might have missed this, may have said it, but when you kill a FSBO and you kind of get over, or before you get over the 60-second hump, and they asked about your commission, how do you avoid telling them that it's a listing appointment, or even talking about your commission?
Great. So Jennifer, that's a great question. And what I like to do, everybody stay on the phone. Don't hang up, because I'm going to say something at the end of this after Jennifer's questions. Everybody stay there. Jennifer, do you mind role-playing me that so I can actually demonstrate your question?
Absolutely. I would love that.
All right. So you be that homeowner. We're going to do our dialogue. And by the way, everybody, before I forget, we recorded this call. So all of this great content, we're going to post it for the intensive folks and for the power agents as a bonus recording. And I'm going to tell you how we can continue these weekly calls after I answer Jennifer. So Jennifer, you be the FSBO, and don't forget to throw me that commission thing right up front. Ring, ring.
Hello.
Yes, hi, I'm calling about the house for sale.
Oh, wonderful. It's still for sale.
Well, hi, ma'am. This is Darryl Davis from Power Realty. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful, thanks. And you?
I'm doing very good, thank you. The reason why I was calling, ma'am, I noticed your ad, and I was wondering, are you working with agents in the sale of your property?
Really, I'm doing it on my own. I'm not interested in working with an agent at this time.
I see. Well, I'm looking at a copy of the ad. I'm really impressed with it, which, by the way, did you write this yourself?
I did.
You did a really good job. I see that. So yeah, so it says 4 bedrooms, 2 baths, and I'm just curious: is the bedrooms are they all upstairs, or is it like a Cape where there's 2 up and 2 down?
Well, there are 2 up and 2 down. But I'm sorry, I don't want to waste your time. I'm really not interested in working with an agent at this time.
Okay. All right. Well, let me ask you this, ma'am. I appreciate the straightforwardness and honesty. You are committed to selling now, I'm assuming, right? Otherwise, you wouldn't go through the headache of writing the ad and putting the photos, yes?
Exactly.
Well, let me
I
ask you.
think that.
Well,
Go ahead.
well, I was going to ask you if I had a buyer. I see that you're asking $400,000 for your house. If I had a buyer who was willing to pay you $400,000 and you wouldn't have to pay a commission out of that money, would you sell it to them?
Yes.
Okay, good. It is possible in cases to do that, but first I need to see the house and see what you have and see if there's a way to make this work. Can I come over tonight? Would you be offended if I came by tonight between 6 or 7?
I wouldn't be offended, but I'm wondering how you can sell it without a commission, and if you can't, what is your commission?
Well, as far as how we work I'm sorry, ma'am, my name's Darryl. What's your name?
Jennifer.
Jennifer. And Jennifer, okay. And is there, if I don't mind to ask, is there a Mr. Jennifer too? I just want to get a sense of the structure of the house here.
No, there is a Mr. Jennifer, yes.
Okay.
Mr. Consolazio.
Okay, good. Yeah, he may not like it if I met him and said, hello, Mr. Jennifer. So, all right. So I'll tell you, when it comes to the commission, Jennifer, it really depends on so many different things. It depends on the time frame we're working with. It depends on the buyers. A lot of buyers that come to us are not the same type of buyers that come to you. Just like, the type of buyer that will go to buy a couch, there's the ones that go to eBay, and then there's the ones that go to Ethan Allen. So there's different types of buyers in every industry. And so I'm working with a different type of buyer than the ones that homeowners such as yourself work with directly. So there's a lot of different ways. But honestly, I think we're kind of rushing ahead because right now I just want to come over, see your house, see how I can help you, and then we'll take it from there. I understand you don't want to list with anybody. That's why you're going this route. But, you've got nothing to lose for us to at least get together and start a conversation. So is it okay if I come by tonight around 6 or 7 o'clock?
That sounds good. Okay.
So that's how I would handle it, Jennifer, right? You want to kind of bob and weave. And the way I just answered it may be a little different from another call. It depends on how aggressive they are. You were kind of nicer on it. Some are going to be even more aggressive. So then you got to say it a little bit different. But you get better and better. You want to try and avoid answering the question because, Kent would probably answer it because he's doing like pre-listing appointments where he's being really, straight about, listen, I want to list your property. I want to work with you. I want to try and sell it. Whereas if I got really pushed by somebody, I might say, well, listen, Jennifer, my commission is variable. It can go anywhere from 5 to 10%. But listen, the commission I charge is what's going to get the house sold for the highest possible price. You see, the commission, a lot of people don't realize it's a marketing tool. But again, I only discuss what we're going to price a property at and what commission we're going to pay out to other agents when somebody's ready to hire me. We're not there yet. You don't even know if you like me. As a matter of fact, you might even feel like you hate me a little bit because my name has realtor at the end of it, right? So let's slow down a little bit. I promise I ain't going to bite. Let me come over, see what you have, and see how I can help you. Sound fair?
Okay, so basically you kind of bob and weave.
Yes.
And you give them like the range, like not to say that you won't tell them, but more like
the less is more. The less you answer it, the better. So try and go as little as possible and then go back to the dialogue to get in the door. And then if that doesn't satisfy them, give them a little bit more and then try and get back in the door. But that's the point. You want to try and get in the door, okay?
Okay.
All right.
Oh,
So
thank you so much.
you're
Darryl.
so welcome. I'm going to put you on mute so you don't have to worry about it. Now, before I say everything to everybody, so don't anybody go there because I just want to say this one last thing. Kent, I really appreciate you taking your valuable time to help our students to get good at calling FSBOs and expireds and using the Red X system. You were an awesome human being to take your time to do this. So thank you for that.
Yes, absolutely. Happy to do it.
Yeah, this was very generous of you. Everybody else, just so we're clear, on this call, we have some people who are power agents and some people who are not. Those of you that are power agents, every Monday from 11 o'clock to 12 is when you have me and sometimes Marty available to coach you through anything, especially calling FSBOs and expireds. Those of you that are not power agents, this was just a bonus call for you to help you. So if you're not a power agent, I want you to go to, I want you, please become one because it's going to help you. I don't want to yell at you and push it. Just, here's what you do. Call my office or go to the website, thepowerprogram.com, thepowerprogram.com. All one word. And the phone number's there. Sarah's there. You can ask her questions. You can sign up online. All right, gang, I'm going to take everybody off mute so we can all say goodbye to each other and say goodbye to Kent for his wonderful way. So everybody, let's all say goodbye to one another. Goodbye. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye. 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 All righty. Awesome.